and welcome back to my channel, Craft Time by Casey. I am Casey, and today these are the 2 pairs of earrings that I will be making. Most of the components came from the bargain bead box for the month of July 2023. And if you are interested in the bargain bead box, I will have all the information in the description box below. I highly encourage you to go check them out, and when you do, you definitely want to use my code. That code is Casey2, and that code will get you $2 off your first month subscription or $2 off your first order from their website. So if you would like to see how these earrings came about, then stay tuned. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the tools that I will be using. I have 2 sets of chain nose pliers, 1 set of cutters, 1 set of round nose pliers, and 1 set of industrial cutters. And I want to briefly mention my tool set. This is the Casual Comfort tool set. And as the name suggests, this is the most comfortable tool set to use that I have found. They are very high quality, very well made. And for me, the biggest thing is the size, which leads to the comfort. A lot of times jewelry making tools will be much smaller like this. And they certainly function, but for me, this is a set that's almost made for adult size hands, and they're just so comfortable to use. You can see the grips there on the side. They are quite a bit larger. And for me, I really just can't imagine using anything else at this point. So I will have this tool set linked down below, along with everything else that I use in the video that did not come from the bead box. I will also have linked down below the opening video I did for the bargain bead box, and it will have a detailed description of all of the beads that I use. From my own stash, I'm going to be using some 22 gauge wire, pins, and of course, an ear wire. And for this video, like I said when I was showing the tools, I'm using some industrial cutters. I have already cut the length of wire that I need, but I wanted to point this out. When you're using wire, it is always best practice to have an industrial set of cutters. If you use your regular jewelry making cutters for thicker wire like this, or memory wire or chains, different things like that, it will absolutely mess them up and you won't be able to use them to cut anymore. So I always recommend having an industrial set of cutters with your tools. So here is the first set of earrings that we'll be making. I have one made and we will make the other one together. I felt like the beads that came in the bead box this month were very well coordinated and looked very well together. So I pretty much used one of each size. And we're kind of having a waterfall effect with these beads. So I have my piece of wire that I have cut, and I have about 4 or 5 inches of it cut, which is probably a little bit too much for what I need for this bead. I'm going to put the bead on right here in the middle, and I'm going to use one of my bead stoppers. So I'm going to squeeze that on there, and that way the bead stops right there. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers just above the top of it and pull it to the side at a 90-degree angle. And now I'm going to adjust my pliers just like this so that it goes above it, and I'm holding it like this. And I'm going to take the memory wire and wrap it around the top of these round nose pliers. So now I'm going to adjust it and put the bottom part of the round nose pliers in that loop, just like that. And I'm going to take that memory wire and put it back around, just like that. So now I'm going to hold it pretty snug and just take it with my fingers and wrap that wire around. After that first time around, I'm going to go ahead and take it with my chain nose pliers. That way I can get it kind of snug and take it around again. So now I'm going to take my industrial cutters, cut off that little nub, and then I am going to take my chain nose pliers and just kind of flatten that nub against it. just like that. And now it won't scratch when you touch it. And you have that top loop. I'll take off the bead stop and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So just like that. So now for the other components, I have 4 different eye pins, and all of the ones that go down are going to be using an eye pin except for the last one, and that last one I'm using a flathead pin. So here's how I make each one. Very simply, put the bead on here, and I want to line up the loop so that the loops are facing the same direction. Take my round nose pliers, go just above the top of the bead, bend it just like that, bend it back with my fingers, and now I can go in with my regular cutters. And before I close that loop, I'm going to connect it to the one above it, just like that. And I'm going to go in with my round nose pliers and close that loop. And there you go. We're going to do the exact same thing all the way down and connect them by making that loop. All right, so I want to cut in right now so I can show the bead caps that I'm using on the rondelle, these flower-shaped bead caps. So I just have one on either end, and then you make the loop the same way. All right, so I have now added all of the components, and now we're going to very quickly put on the ear wire. So take the ear wire, open it just a little at the bottom, put it on, and close it. And since every bead spins a full 360, it doesn't matter which way you put on the ear wire. Here is the first pair, on to the next one. All right, so here is the next pair, and it's hard to show the full effect of this pair while I'm holding it sideways. The way this hangs and kind of falls with that jump ring at the bottom is really pretty. So I will show the full effect once it is on the display at the end. So here is the next pair. So I have a piece of memory wire. This is 1 time around in the memory wire. And as you can see, it's a little bit short, and it's gonna be even shorter once we put all the beads on. All right, so we're going to make 1 small loop on one side of this piece of memory wire here. And you wanna make sure you don't hold it up and down and fold it back this way. You wanna make it go sideways. I'm gonna have it on the smallest part of my round nose pliers that I can, and then I'm just going to fold it back. Just roll it like that until you get a very small loop on the side, just like that. I am using a size 8/0 clear seed bead, and I'm using 4mm bicones, and that of course is for the round part here. And then I'm using these focal beads from the box. I'm also using this really cool laser cut charm bead. I really wanted to make sure I used these when I opened them. I think these are pretty. So all the way around this circle, you're going to have 7 of the clear seed beads, the clear 8/0 seed beads, and 1 bicone. And you're gonna go all the way around until you have 7 bicones in between. You need 7 bicones and then 7 of the crystal 8/0 seed beads in between each one. And we'll meet back up. All right, so here we have it completely full. And yes, I see that this side isn't completely full, but here is all that we need on there. I have 7 bicones and 7 crystal beads in between. So we only need enough wire left to make a very small loop, just like the one we have over here. I'm going to trim this down right about there. And of course, I'm using my industrial cutters. And again, you don't want to make your loop where it's up and down and you're folding it back this way. You want to make it on its side. So I'm going to go underneath and go to the small part of the round nose pliers, and I'm going to fold it back. And there you have it. So there is the piece with both of the loops there at the top. All right, so now I'm gonna take a 6mm jump ring and both of my chain nose pliers and open it. And then I'm going to put it through both of the loops that we just made, just like that. And then I'm gonna close this 6mm jump ring. So now you can see they are very similar in size because they have the exact same amount of beads. And that one 6mm at the top is holding it together. So now we can add the center component. So I have a 2-inch eye pin, just like this. Okay, so this is very important for the length of this, for this to fall the right way with the jump ring at the bottom. So I have a 2-inch eye pin. And the first thing I'm gonna do is open the eye pin just a little bit. And I'm going to put it on that 6mm jump ring that we added, just like that. And then close it back, just like that. So right now when it falls, it's going to be hitting the bottom of it because we haven't curled the bottom of it yet into its own loop. So now we're gonna put everything on in the middle. All right, so that middle component has 6 of the crystal seed beads on either side, and then it has one of those disco ball looking very large beads in the center, and then of course that flower bead cap on either side. Here's how I'm holding it. I have the bottom part in between my fingers here, and then it's resting on my finger so I can kind of give it some pressure to hold it down. And then I'm holding down the seed beads. That way I can get a firm grip on it to make that loop at the bottom. So now I'm going to go in with my round nose pliers and I'm going to roll this back into a loop, just like that. So now when it hangs, it should very easily go through that center part. And now I have a large jump ring, the jump ring that's gonna go at the bottom. This is an 8mm jump ring. And I'm going to connect it through that loop at the bottom and go around the circle like this and close that jump ring. And now we're gonna add the 2 components off of that jump ring at the bottom. So the first component looks like this. It has that faceted flat disc bead and then 2 bicones on either side. It's a flathead pin. I'm gonna go just above that top bead, bend it back with my fingers, go in with my cutters, and before I close it, I'm gonna connect it to that loop at the bottom and then go in with my round nose pliers and close it, just like that. And for the laser cut charm, I'm gonna take a 6mm jump ring, open it, put on the charm, connect it to that large jump ring, and close it. And there you have it. So now we're gonna very quickly put on the ear wire, open it at the bottom, place it on the 6mm jump ring at the top, close it. And here is this pair. So I'm gonna set both of these up on the display so we can see them better. All right, so here they are, and I have to say I am super happy with how they came out. I love, love, love how coordinated these beads are with the bright greens and blues. I think they just go so well together. I love the waterfall earrings on the right. I think it is sized perfectly for a style of earrings like this. It just happens to go down by 1mm each time, and I think it just looks so, so good. And of course, these earrings on the left, I love, so I'm gonna get my hand in here. I absolutely love how that jump ring falls at the bottom. I think that looks so cool. Same on this other side. And I love those giant beads, those 10mm beads. They look like disco balls to me. I just think they are so pretty. And I like how they're highlighted in the center of those beads there on the left. And of course, those laser cut beads at the bottom, I think those are very, very pretty as well. I love the way these earrings came out. So if you like this video and you want to see other videos like this, Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and give me a like. Leave a comment. I would love to hear what you think of these earrings. I absolutely love reading my comments. You guys are so kind, and I definitely look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.